Let's Talk Houston, and I am your host, Dr. J. Lynn Hicks. And welcome to Let's Talk.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
And welcome to Let's Talk Houston. And I am your host, Dr. J. Lynn Hicks. And in the studio with us today, virtually, we have none other than Miss Jeanita Castille. And so, Miss Jeanita, come on in the room. You're here with us. Can you hear me, Miss Jeanita?
You're very low, very, very low.
I'm very low. Okay. Well, I'm using the studio mics here. Let me see. What about this one? Can you hear this one?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I switched the mic, so I don't know if this mic is better. Well, again, welcome to Let's Talk Houston. I am your host, Dr. J. Lynn Hicks, and in the studio with us today, we have none other than the founder and CEO of Power 100 magazine herself, Jeanita Castille. Yay!
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so.
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. You're loud in my studio.
Okay.
Right. So go ahead and greet your audience. Go ahead and speak to everybody.
Hi everyone. Glad to be here tonight.
Yes, and so I had the opportunity to be presented with one of your awards several weeks ago. I hope they have some water back here somewhere. I had the opportunity to be presented with one of your Power 100 awards on several weekends ago, and I was so thrilled and excited about that to be a recipient of that award. But then after I got there, I was even more amazed at the turnout and the caliber of women that you had present, and your idea, your concept of the way you had the women to speak into or pour into one another. I thought that was very, very ideal and unique, because most of the time I've gone to receive an award, we just, we take a picture, we get the award, and we don't speak into the woman in front of us or behind us.
Right.
Right. So how did you come up with the concept of the Power 100 awards, and also the concept of, speaking in or pouring into your sister?
Well, I've always been in the women empowerment space. Well, I will say for about almost 9 years. It was something that God just really gradually led me into. It wasn't something that I sought out to do. It wasn't a big idea of mine or anything. I've always been one in pursuit of purpose, in pursuit of my God-given gifts and talents and assignment. I believe that we're all put here for a particular reason or reasons.
Right.
And those reasons come from, our Creator. And so I've always pursued those things. And so while I was in the workplace, which before I was in law enforcement, and then I switched over to juvenile detention, juvenile counseling, and things. And so in 2018, I had an experience with God, and he told me it was time for me to leave the workplace. Now, God speaks to us in many different ways. When I say that he told me, it wasn't necessarily an audible voice, but if you are in Christ, or if you have an experience or encounter, you feel the pull, that something above you and higher than you is speaking to you. And so I felt that pull to start to step into what he was calling me to do. And that's what I did in 2018. I was prompted to leave the workplace to pursue business, my purpose and things like that. So it started off as women empowerment events, business events. My brand before this was the Year of the Female Boss. And that was really inspiring women to step out into their own God-given assignment and start a business, their brand, and different things like that. And so my my events were geared towards those things. So I will have people come and speak to teach you how to really dive into your businesses and different things like that, marketing, funding, and stuff like that. And then in 2020, when COVID hit, I had another encounter or experience with God, and it shifted me into more of a faith-based platform because, I felt the pull to have the focus more on Christ, more on God-centered, Christ-centered platform. And long story short, I was given the idea of creating a magazine because God pulled me into photography, women's photography. And so I've done thousands of women over the course of a couple of years in photography. And from that is where I started the magazine. And I have a story.
Yes, you do.
And God started to pull on me about telling my story of how I grew up and just different, what I've, encountered and overcome and things like that. And so I wanted other women to come along to tell their stories of how they have been resilient, how God has done something in their lives, how they have gone through just different traumatic experiences and how they came out on the other side. It's important to know a story because a story can become a blueprint for your life. You can hear someone's story and then you can really be inspired to live, right? So many people are hopeless. So many people are looking for a way, but that way can be found in telling your story. And so someone hears your story and now they can be inspired to get to the other side of what they're going through. So it brings hope. And so that's where the magazine Power 100 came from. 100 is the number that God gave to me. And so I always stick with 100. At the events, I honor 100 women. The magazine is comprised of 100 women, different women every single time it is published. And so, that's really how it came about. So with the magazine, I thought of an award show where the women are recognized, not only the women in the magazine, but whoever's nominated can be recognized, women from all walks of life. You don't have to be at the top of your business. You don't have to be this, bestseller or this, the greatest person at the top of their game and doing it so big, but women at all levels, whether you're just beginning or whether you're, in tip top shape in your business. And so just honoring and recognizing real women with real stories. We all have a story behind who we are, what it is that we do, behind our brands, behind our careers. And so I want to know the story. I want to know the real woman and not just what you do, but how you got there.
Yes.
And so that's how that came along.
Yeah, that Year of the Female Boss struck a chord with me and my pastor. I see she typed it in, the Year of the Female Boss. I really, really like that. Because
I may revisit that at some time because that's at the time when we hear in part, and so it wasn't necessarily that I was to get rid of it, but I just pivoted and transitioned into something else just to make sure that I was giving Christ more of the highlight than I was the women, because what I don't want to do is create a platform where we are just self-loathing and boasting about ourselves and about our accomplishments, because when you get to that point, then you forget who gave it to you.
That's
and I want to keep who gave it to us in the center of what I do, because that's we get the download from him every step of the way. You have to get the download and the blueprint from who gave it to you, so we can't forget that.
No, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness.
Absolutely.
And all these other things will be added unto you. But I like your perspective. I'm really touched by the fact that, because I feel too, like you do, that I feel like every good and perfect gift comes from the Lord. Every degree, every accomplishment, every accolade, every home, every whatever it is, every award. It's like I don't focus on the award. I focus on who gave me the award, who gave me the opportunity, who allowed me the privilege of even pursuing various opportunities. And I like the fact that you keep that at the forefront of what you do. I'm impacted by that. And I like the way you handled, like I said, your awards, because there was a lot of people in there.
Yeah, I want to keep the main thing the main thing. It's about the
Yeah.
women. You know, I don't put myself at the forefront and have all these pictures like, oh, I'm the boss, I'm this, I'm the creator, I'm the founder. That goes without saying, and you'll see me eventually because I'm the one that's hosting, I'm the one that's doing that. But I keep the platform about what it is, which is the women. It's plain and simple. You know, you keep the main thing the main thing. And so that's why and it also helped me. And so you guys honoring each other also helped me and kept my hands free of, you know, being up at the front and things like that. Because in traveling with this event, I don't travel with a team. I don't travel with volunteers and things like that. Now, God will send those people when it's time. But until then, I have to keep it where, you know, everything is running smoothly. And so not only was it inspirational to do, not only was it, you know, very moving to pour into the next woman, but it also allowed me to just sit back and watch what was being produced versus being up at the front, you know, and so I could kind of manage a little bit more in doing it that way.
Yeah, I like the style. That was a ideal strategy. I don't like to feel the overwhelm. You know, when you put on a, I'm gonna say a production, a show, or anytime you have to get into the thick of the details of presenting something where you're providing so many awards, so many frame certificates, so, you know, the food, the awards, the venue, the chairs, you know, it's just, I mean, the vendors, it becomes overwhelming. I mean, so yeah, you got to relieve some of that pressure and stress. But I do like the fact that you didn't want to be up there on the mic, although I enjoyed it when you did get up there, even though it might have been minimal. But the times that you were up there, I did enjoy listening and hearing from you.
Thank you.
Yes. And so I just happened to notice that you were doing a book. It just popped up on my page earlier today, right before I came here this evening. I saw the book where you're talking about the resilience you mentioned, people overcoming the odds. So tell us a little bit more about that anthology that you're doing.
So in diversifying what I do, you know, the Power 100 platform, at some point you have to diversify things, and, you know, God gives you ideas. That's the, you know, the kind of ladder that we're on. You take the first step, then God, you know, continues to give you more steps to the ladder as you move up. And so the next step for me is really diving into, you know, being an author. And so because I am who I am, I like to bring people alongside with me, because I'm not the only one with the story of building it anyway. And so that's the name of the book, Build It Anyway. And that came from a prophecy that I received last year, where I was on a Zoom call. I didn't know anyone on the Zoom call, and I was just there listening. And my name was called, and the lady prophesied to me, and it's so crazy. And this was God, no doubt. That morning I was in prayer, and I had been questioning some things with the magazine, and I only want to do things if it's a God idea. I don't want to do things because it came out of me, because it only produces, you know, the way it should, or is effective when it comes from God. That's my belief. I don't know what anybody else's, you know, believe, but that's what I believe. And so I was praying, and I said, God, if this is not you, you know, let me know. If you want me to go forward, because it takes a lot of work in trying to find 100 different women every single time the magazine is done, trying to, you know, have 100 nominations for the award show and different things like that. It takes a lot of work out of me. It's a lot of, you know, time, a lot of my time. And I prayed, this was a year ago, and I said, God, if this is you, I need a sign. And I need a sign so clear from you that I won't doubt it. And so that was that morning. And so a couple of hours later, someone invited me onto a Zoom. They said, here, join this Zoom tonight. They're going to be prophesying and praying and stuff like that. And initially I told her no. I said, I'm not bumming no prophecy. Like, if God want to speak to me, I don't need to join no Zoom call to get no prophecy or nothing like that. But later on that night, I ended up joining the Zoom. And I was just listening to people, you know, pray, and other people get prophesied to. And then my name was called, and the lady said, and she said it in a tone that was so funny, because it was like God saying, I've already told you this, but if you need confirmation, here you go. And so the lady said, Jeanita Castille, build it now. build it without hesitation, build
Right.
it without delay. You're waiting on me, but I'm waiting on you. And so she was saying this from God, and it was, I just jumped up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you heard me, God, you heard me, you heard me. Not
Yeah.
that I don't know that God hears my prayers or anything,
Right.
but I had just prayed that prayer that morning, and now
Yeah.
this lady that has never met me before in life is saying, and she said, you asked for a sign, here it go. Here it is. And
Yeah.
so she was just repeating back everything that I said to God that morning. And from then on, I'm like, I got to continue on with this thing, because literally God spoke to me. It was no way that that lady would have known what I had prayed. And so that was hopeful for me. That gave me hope. That gave me strength to move forward. And so build it anyway came from that prophecy saying, build it. She said, build it. You're asking, should you build it? Build it. And so I think about all the people that are building things intentionally for the kingdom, and who are going through warfare, who are going through just different life things that happen, but still show up every day to say, God, how can you use me for this platform that you've given me? And they're building it anyway. And so that's where that book came from. And so I'm looking for women to join me as co-authors for that book.
Okay. So if they're interested, what they do, just inbox you or?
And so the instructions are, they join the Facebook group, and in the Facebook group is all the information of what they need to submit and different things like that.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. And so, when we were at the award ceremony, you mentioned a little bit about your testimony, but for those who might not know, would you like to share some of it when you talked about, I don't know, the relationship with your mother, or it was something with women.
Right. So I had a very strained relationship with my mother. My mother, God rest her soul, and I don't have anything against her to this day. I've made amends with that, reconciled that with God and I, because unfortunately she passed away before we could fully reconcile and before I could fully forgive. And so, she was abused as a child. She was raped as a child. Her mother was an alcoholic. She was mistreated as a child. And so, we only can do what we learn to do, what we know how to do, in the environment that we grow up in. We learn from those things. And so she treated her children like she was treated.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as she was, treating, my sister and I, abusing us and things like that, I always said, I know she's doing this because she was treated this way. Right. I didn't know that it was creating a bitterness in me. I didn't know that I was developing hardness inside of my heart. I didn't know that it was, building me into this hard young woman. I just thought that I was not really excusing her behavior, but I just thought that I understood why and that I would be okay. But, she abused us heavily. My sister and I grew up in a household at 2 different times because my sister left at 16 because she couldn't take the abuse anymore. Actually, the last time she was in the house, my mom stabbed her and she walked miles and miles to my aunt's house bleeding because my mom had stabbed her. And so that I was maybe, because my sister and I are 11 years apart. So I was left in the house. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I grew up really by myself in the house with my mom. And so she was, I say, a functional alcoholic. She wasn't like a fall down, sloppy drunk, but she drank enough to just change into a different person. And, she would sit on the side of the bed and talk to herself just hours upon hours at night. I would go to sleep. Yeah. Let's say 9 o'clock at night, getting ready for school in the morning. And I would go to sleep and hearing her in her room talking to herself about her past, about her mom, just revisiting and reliving this traumatic experience. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up and she's still talking to herself about this, about whatever she's going through. And then she would have these episodes where she would just jump up out of her room and come into mine and pull me out the bed and hit on me and beat me and pull me to the floor and things like that, just because she's having these episodes. And so that would happen often. And so the abuse went from there. And so, I know everyone says that they were a good kid, but I like to say I was very quiet because I was scared. I was one that feared my mom. I didn't fight her back or hit her back or anything. So that went on for many years until 17. I was off and on with at my aunt's house because my aunt would take me in and things like that. People would call the CPS and they would come out, social services, they would come out to the house, but the house was clean and there was food in the refrigerator. And so they would say, well, shoot, you're better off than most kids out there. So they never really took me in. Plus I had my aunt who will always say, well, she can come to my house. So my aunt was really my sister and myself, our saving grace, because we could always retreat to there when our mom got out of hand. And so that went on for, many years until I was able to get out the house and go to college. But when I got out of the house, I struggled to socialize because I couldn't have friends when I was, at my mom's house. I didn't have any friends. I couldn't go on the porch. Everyone knew me in the neighborhood as the girl that had the strict mom. Everyone would say, oh, don't talk to her. Her mama gonna fuss you out. Her mama gonna come out here and beat you up. Her mama, everybody, I had this label in the community, like, don't mess with her. Don't talk to her because her mama's crazy. And so, that followed me for many years. And so when I got out of the house and was able to be in the free world, I didn't know how to manage. I didn't know how to socialize. So it's funny that God has given me a platform for women because I saw every woman as my mom. I was very bitter, very cold, very mean, very angry. And I'm still healing from those things. I've gotten so much better. I have made, have jumped leaps and bounds past those things, but I'm still learning how to become who God has created me to be, into the full woman that he's created me to be, just based off of the things that I've experienced. Because abuse, I don't care what age you are, I don't care when it happened, abuse creates something in you that you really have to go in and break down those things that you've learned, and really heal, from the inside out from abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse. I experienced all of that. And so it has taken time to really break down those things and heal from those different areas.
Those barriers. So how did you break them down, you feel? Was that through what
Just finding God? I found God at a very early age. And so 17, I got saved on my own. And I, within that period of time, I just prayed and talked to God and gave it to him, and he started to heal those areas. Well, sometimes in life we, go backwards. And so where I was on fire for God, there was a point in time where I was not. And so I entered relationships that wasn't God inspired. I, did things that wasn't God inspired, just trying to find my way through life. And so when I got back on track, which was probably in the year 2017, really 2018, when I really fully recommitted my life back to Christ, was when I was able to be shown that, okay, these are the areas that you need to heal in. And so, that's how that happened.
Oh, that's wonderful. That you were able to find your healing through Christ, through the word, through prayer. Did you get actively involved in a church, or did you find this at home, like reading your Bible by yourself, or were you consistently involved in a ministry at church, or just going to church or anything?
So initially, like I said, when I was 17, I was introduced to a church is where I really found Christ. And then after that, I was introduced to a pastor who they're my parents. I call them my real parents to this day because they really took me in. And so they moved from Nebraska to start a church over 20 plus years ago. And so when they first moved here, I met the husband at a job of mine. And so he invited a friend and I to his home, and they prayed for us, prophesied to us, and I ended up joining their church, which was in their home at the time. And so they really led me further into Christ. That's where I learned about the prophetic. That's where I learned about deliverance. That's where I learned about the different things now. And it really built my foundation in Christ, where I was able to be reminded of these things and really come back to Christ when I left. And I wasn't out here wilding out and doing all these things, but just my relationship wasn't strong. And so experiencing a lot of things in church, seeing a lot of things in church, you know, that church hurt thing where you leave and you're like, I don't, you know, this is happening in the church. You know, I'd rather just be out here. And so that's kind of what happened and what pulled me away. It's not strong enough to pull me away now, because I realized that people are people, and hurt people are in the church, and that's where you go to be healed. That's where you go to grow. And so you're going to find imperfect people in church. But back then you have this expectation of what church people should be and how what you should experience inside of the church. And it should not be like, you know, out in the world. It shouldn't be. But you have grace and you have understanding, and you're there for you in Christ, and not putting the pastor on a pedestal, or not putting people on a pedestal expecting perfection. And so some things that happened in the past that kind of pulled me away, and I was able to, you know, fortunately find my way back.
Yeah. But, you know, when things happen in the church, do you keep them to yourself, or do you go take them to someone? Like if something happens, I don't know. I think I kept a lot of things to my. I mean, I'm still in the church, but I think when things happen to me, I think I keep a lot inside. Like I don't always go. Like even if you mention something that has occurred, it's like it's not always received well. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think that just comes with the sermon. And so, you know, Holy Spirit will lead you and guide you in all your ways. And so if it needs to be taken to someone, I think that through prayer and through relationship with Christ, and he'll, you know, guide you into what to do, whether to pray for that person and just be silent and let it go, or whether to, you know, bring it into discussion with, you know, with that person, or a leader, you know, people in leadership and things like that. But everything is done, you know, in decency and in order and in excellence. And so, you know, we always have to be reminded and mindful of that, to do things in order. There's a protocol for everything. So we have to be respectful. I'm not one to, I see a lot of people running their social media, you know, just downing people and saying, oh, this person did that, he shouldn't have done that, that's not God-like. Well, it's not God-like to do a lot of these things we do on social media and putting people out there as if our lives are perfect. And so I have my own belief behind that. You know, it's just, I don't think that a lot of it is right, but hey, we're here.
Yeah, I don't agree with bashing people like on social media. I think you should go to them or to an elder or something. I mean, yeah, you have to just be led where to take things. But social media, I don't think that's not the answer.
Right.
But like you say, when you take this Power 100 on tour, your cities, I mean, how do you determine what cities? Like before us, you were in what? What city were you in before you came?
Virginia.
You were in Virginia, then you came to Houston. Now you're going to
Charlotte.
That's what I thought, North Carolina. Oh, so how do you determine? Like, I'm trying to get a grasp of it. You get up, so you don't have a team, you don't have a lot of volunteers, so you just pray, I guess, for your city, and then the Lord leads you.
I absolutely do. I pray about it. You know, so I have a list of states and cities I want to visit, but then I pray about the order, and you know, God gives me the order, and that's where I go after each place I visit. And so that's really how I get it. I pray about it. Like, am I supposed to go to this city next? Am I supposed to go? What city am I supposed to go after that? So I can kind of have a flow of what I'm doing and where I'm going. And so from there, you know, it adds on.
So before you, so for example, before you hit Charlotte, do you already have the list of the recipients, or are you finding the recipients after you get to Charlotte? Before you go there, you already have
once I start marketing a city, I have a time frame where to get the nominations, as far as, you know, how long I will give to accept nominations and to send out the nominations to the women. So I have about a 30-day time frame for that. I'll allow 30-day time frame for that. And I'm on it all day, every day. So it allows me to really focus on that and things like that. And so women nominate a list of other women. And so I'm able to just continue to get names and nominations. And I even choose people, myself, just by looking at what they do, inspired by the stories that they tell or the businesses that they have and things like that. And so that's how I do it.
So why do you feel that God would give you this Power 100 magazine concept and the award concept after you experience the trauma and the abuse from a woman? Why do you feel God would in turn tell you to pour into women?
Because it healed me. And so if I hadn't received this platform, I think I would still be struggling through trying to heal from what I experienced with my mother, even my sister, different things like that, because we had different things that happened in our relationship. And so the rejection and I received from my mother, my sister, just different family members and things like that. I think God had to give me this platform so that it can continue to heal me, and that so I can, create a platform where other women are healed and other women receive inspiration and they're able to tell their stories of how they've also healed. And so that is why I believe God gave me this platform, and I'm sure he's still revealing why. I don't know if I'll ever have the full answer as to why he gave me this. I'm going forward knowing that he gave it to me, and just, as he answers questions and as he reveals the totality of why he gave me this, I'm all ears. I'm listening.
That's wonderful.
But it's been rewarding, and like I said, it has healed me tremendously. When I started out working with women, I was not the greatest person. I still had just skepticism. I still was a little hard. I still had to figure out, like, why do you keep giving me this? And every time I'm getting into it with somebody, I'm fussing with somebody, I got an attitude, people talking about me. And, when I started it, I used to have rumors in my town, like, oh, she got an attitude, da, 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 da. And it was because I was just still learning. God threw me out there, and I'm like, why do you keep doing this when clearly I'm not the person for this? But, that's what God does. He'll give it to you until you get it right. And so I'm grateful and I'm thankful that he didn't just, he didn't sit me down because he knew my heart. My heart wasn't to be that way. It was just that I had to heal through some things. And if I didn't experience certain things that I experienced with women, I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's a big reason why I believe he gave it to me.
I love that. I love the fact that you were obedient and went out there. I mean, you knew you were struggling with something. You knew you needed to heal, or something was right. But you still went on. You did what God wanted you to do.
Yeah, and it's still a test. Like, working with women, you meet women from all walks of life. You meet women who are still healing. And so the grace that I needed in those moments, now I have to give, because I meet women who aren't very, let's say nice. I meet people just from all the nicest person down to the person with the attitude, like, why you contacted me? Who nominated me? Who did? Like, I'm like, whoa.
They're angry at the nomination.
Yeah, so I'm having to give them grace and having to look through the eyes and lens of Christ and say, well, she's going through something, she's experienced some things and she's a little afraid and, not able to really connect with people, because it took me a long time to connect. I was doing the work, but I wasn't connected through the heart to people. I couldn't sympathize with you. I couldn't connect emotionally with you. People will be crying in front of my face, and I'm just sitting there like,
you didn't feel anything,
trying to build tears up, trying to feel something.
You were battling your own struggle,
right?
And then you didn't understand what was going on here,
right?
Sometimes you can't relate because you simply don't understand,
right? Yeah.
what's triggering this right now? Why
Absolutely.
okay, we were just talking about one thing and now here we are crying. You know, it's like you just don't connect because it's foreign to you.
Right.
You sometimes you want to say if you only knew what the half of what I've been through, you wouldn't even be standing here crying like this. But you know, you don't say that. You know, I don't try to cut off people's tears because I was trained
Absolutely.
to
I
allow
needed to see
people.
those tears because,
Yeah,
women were able to be vulnerable around me, but I wasn't able to be vulnerable around them because I felt
right.
like I had to be a certain way and I couldn't be vulnerable because I didn't know how to be. But that
Yes.
really broke something in me so that I am able to now connect and
Mm,
sympathize with people and really feel the heart of God for
yeah,
them.
that's beautiful. Yeah, your Maurice Price says he'll give it to you until you get it right, which I like that statement too. You said like he gave you something, even though you don't feel you were in the best place to actually execute the plan, but he was patient with you because
Right.
you were obedient. You had an obedient heart. You were willing to go out there and put yourself out there, even though you felt you weren't quite ready.
Right. And that's what I tell everybody. A lot of people feel they have to be 100% before they get out there, but it really depends. I see a lot of people on social media, say, don't do this unless you're healed. Well, it depends on what God says. Sometimes what you do, you won't find the healing until you step out there and put yourself out there, and the healing, that will break down those things and
Yeah.
really come in to heal. So you got
Mhm.
to listen to God. You can't listen to people on social media and their
Right.
advice. You got to do what God tell you to do.
Yes, because everybody on social media isn't led by God. Some of
Right.
them are just, in their own ways, their own selfish ways or whatever. But yeah, it's not that I don't think, social media to me gives everybody a platform to have 15 minutes of fame or whatever to get out there. And then some people that are attention seeking when they get out there, it's like it's a an adrenaline rush. But then you got other
Yeah.
people who don't necessarily like to be in the limelight. Like I don't necessarily like to be in the limelight, but God wanted me to do the podcast, just like you said, He told you to do the Power 100. So I answered the call and I put myself out there.
Right.
But sometimes when you get in your comfort zone or in your, I'm gonna say your old ways where you know how you used to flow. I mean, what I'm saying is you have to pray and fight to not allow the comfort zone to overtake you again. Because like it's comfortable, like for you, I'm sure not to deal with 100 ladies. I mean, so something in your spirit might say, you know what, I'm gonna go on a sabbatical, and I'm not gonna do the 100 ladies this year, this month, or whatever. But then something continues to push you and propel you to make you do it.
Right.
And that's what happens with me here on the podcast. It's
Yeah.
like the Holy Spirit; it'll keep pushing you and propelling you to seek out guests, to show yourself friendly and open, to meeting new people or whatever have you. Because sometimes, like you say, you get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
After
just
every
get
event,
tired.
I say, who told me to do this? I
Right.
am not doing this no more. But a couple of days later, and I'm
Yeah.
on to the next.
Yeah, you own to it because the reward is great when you see the outcome, the final outcome. After
Right.
you after you have suffered a little bit and you got not as much sleep as you wanted, or you had to go out of your way to get extra frames, plaques, certificates, or whatever might little things crop up. I'm saying while you're trying to execute a plan, but it's like the Holy Spirit keeps encouraging you, keeps motivating you, keeps pushing you, keeps pumping you, and you're like, okay, God, I'll do it, I'll do
Right.
it. Yeah, like I said, I've met a lot of nice ladies. And I did exchange some phone numbers. I'm gonna have to reach out to some of those ladies, but yeah, I did, because some of the testimonies were so. I mean, I was floored sometime when they would get up there. I didn't expect. I mean, some of the abuse, some of the like some of the ladies talk about the men wanted to beat them up and throw them out on the freeway, and just I was just looking, just thinking. I mean, that is so mean. And then the one lady said she grew up with the scratching and gnawing sounds, and she said, you know
Yeah.
what that was? People like, yeah, rats, like rats in the wall. Just people look one way now after the fact because you're an adult and you don't imagine and you can't begin to imagine the things that people have survived or people have encountered, in their childhood, just the trauma. And yet we come out and like I said, it was very encouraging, and I so much appreciate that.
Yes, and that's what I love about this platform. Women get to tell their stories. They just don't get up there and say, oh, I'm the boss of this, I'm the owner of this, I'm the founder of this, but they get to say their story. They get to tell their real and raw story. And that's what it's all about. And so people ask me, well, what's in the event? Are we going to eat? We going to have dinner? Is it any entertainment? I used to be one that I'm big on singing, dancers, and you got to have this and you got to have that for entertainment, but I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to do what God's told me to do. Now, that's not to say that I won't add entertainment into my events anymore, but the main thing is hearing these stories, and that's enough. That will wear you out, hearing all these stories, but you leave inspired, and you leave like, oh my gosh, she went through that, and she's able to build these big businesses or whatever. Is the person's story. And so many people are like, oh my gosh, that was wonderful to hear all those stories, and people sit through it. They sit and hear all of these stories from 100 women. All of them.
You didn't put a time constraint on it. Like, you know how some people try to rush you, or you got 5 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever you got, and then they almost rush you off the stage. But it's like you were allowing people to, because it was like it was long for them to tell the story sometimes, but you didn't cut them off.
No, I'm not going to cut you off. Now, I prefer people to be, brief, for the next woman, to respect the next person's story, the shorter version of the story. But, those who got to get it out, I don't rush them along.
But you call edutainment, the entertainment. I like the dancing, like praise dancing, different dance. That stuff.
So do I.
That uplifts my spirit. Like when you say, I'm not gonna. Sometimes when you're hurting, that when they're swinging their arms and swinging the fabric and all this soft swishy, that stuff heals me on the inside.
Right.
So sometimes I need a little dancing in there. I need a little singing. That stuff.
Absolutely. And I definitely add those things. My previous events, they're always in there. Some of them they're going to be in there, some of them not.
I'm just saying, when people are telling those type of stories like they were telling, you don't really have you don't have room for a lot of too much extra.
And people want to get out there in 3 hours and stuff like that. I've had people complain about the time before. We sat here for all this time. That's because I want to add the bells and whistles and the speakers and the dancers and singers and stuff like that. And, people complain. But, I keep it about the stories and the awards.
Yeah, but people are, I'm just saying, a lot of times when you put on events, there's always going to be somebody that might have a complaint. But overall, the vast majority of them probably, I'm going to say, they won't have.
Oh, absolutely.
It might be somebody.
I get more positive feedback and more encouragement than, any other thing.
Yeah. You might get somebody to complain about the food. Or you might get, I didn't have any other than, now it got hot a little bit. But other than that, it was beautiful. Overall, it was nice. Don't you think?
Absolutely. I did what God told me to do. The women were pleased. I did my job. On to the next. I try not to linger on, and I just make sure that everyone got what I promised. You get your award. You get to tell your story. Mm-hmm. You get to be uplifted, inspired. Those are my promises, my main promises. That you get to be honored. You get your voice heard, and you get the spotlight on you. That's my promise, and that's what I deliver.
Amen. Well, you delivered all those. It was a very nice event. When I got nominated, she mentioned that she had never heard of Jeanita Castille, and I was like, I hadn't either. But I was still excited. I like to meet new people,
Absolutely.
How long have you been here?
In Houston?
Yes.
I've been in Houston since March, but back and forth. Like now I'm in Virginia. So I'm in and out of Houston, still trying to settle there. But I've been there since March, end of March.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no, was it March? March, yeah.
Oh, well, that's phenomenal. So therefore, I hear from listening to you that you don't let grass, as they say, grow under your feet. You're on the move, which that's good. That's commendable.
That's kind of my lifestyle.
Because I don't know why. I've never lived anywhere else but Houston. But I've traveled abroad. But I'm just saying, like I went to Dubai in April, and I went to Jamaica in June, and Cozumel or something. But like, I like to visit places, but I don't
Right.
want to move. I think that takes another kind of courage and boldness, to just move somewhere and just up,
Hmm.
because I don't want to leave I guess my surroundings or my
Hmm.
core family members, I guess, or something. But like, if I don't have any ties, perhaps I would be able to move more. You know,
Right.
I would feel more comfortable moving rather.
Right.
But yeah, that's commendable though. That's probably why, to me, in order to produce something like that's not typical, you have to have a different mentality and mindset. Like the way you're able to move like you're doing, that gives you a different level, I'm saying, of creativity and boldness in your events and what you're doing. Because
Yes, indeed.
yeah, he's speaking to you differently. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because sometimes my creativity is on a high. It's like it's I can feel it's heightened, and my ideas are real extra. I
Right.
Because other people are like, you got up at what time? You did what? It's like people, what I consider to be the norm. I can tell the reaction I get from other people. Like, this is most definitely not the norm. The way you're moving and doing, I'm like, oh,
Right.
it feels like the norm to me because I'm in that zone. Like, I'm sure what you're doing feels like the norm to you, right?
Absolutely. Well, it feels weird and normal at the same time. Normal for my environment,
Uh-huh.
but weird sometimes. Like, Lord, sometimes I ask God, why could you give me something regular to do? An accountant, do hair, do
Yeah,
nails,
yeah.
something, else.
Mhm.
But
I
this is what He
agree.
gave me.
It's like you want to be more comfortable. Like, I
Right.
want to be,
But,
yeah,
if
yeah,
it's
we
anything
love
like God, you're not going to be comfortable.
no. It's like you want to be in the comfort zone. You want to be. I want to feel different right now, Lord.
Right.
And he's like, "Nah, I got you. Just going out there." You're like, "Okay." I mean, okay. I mean, it's like he keeps giving you the strength. Like, if you're working and you got other things pulling on you in your life, etc. It's like when people get to Friday, a lot of time people want to relax and rest on Fridays. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Friday is where the weekend begins.
Yeah.
Like the OJ say. I mean, they live for the
Absolutely.
weekend because,
Friday.
yeah, Friday. But
Yep.
he says to me,
Want to eat
no,
dinner. Yeah.
you're gonna do your podcast, because he lives in eternity. So a Friday to me, that's just like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to God. I mean, they all look alike to him. He's in eternity. We're the
Obviously.
one living in the Chronos time. He's in eternity. So your
Right.
Friday means nothing to God. And what time it is in the morning means nothing to God. I mean, I'm saying he's on a whole nother level. Our human frame and our human, we're so finite in our thinking. He's infinite. You know what I'm saying? So those
That's
little,
right.
yeah, what we're feeling is not what he's not feeling. I mean, he's not feeling what we're feeling. You know.
That's right.
So you said at one time you hosted a podcast as well.
So with the stories in the magazine,
Oh, okay.
I would interview every woman who told their story in the magazine. That's still the plan. Initially, it was in person. It's kind of hard to get to everyone in person. If you have women from different places, joining the magazine, which women all over are welcome to join the magazine at any point in time. And so, now when this next edition come out, it'll be kind of like what we're doing here, virtual.
Oh, you're gonna interview them like this,
right? Because they get to tell their story in the magazine, but then when I meet with them, they get to tell a more in-depth story. So you can put a face to it, you can put a voice to it, and they're able to express themselves in a way that they couldn't express through writing.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So you have anything? You have any other upcoming events? I know you got your book, and then you got Charlotte.
Yes.
And so you have something else coming up?
So after Charlotte, it'll be, so there's Atlanta, there's DC. It's on my page where I'll be and what dates. The dates are subject to change as things maneuver around and things like that. But Charlotte, September 27th. And anyone is welcome. You don't have to be someone receiving an award to come.
Okay.
Sometimes you just want to come support. Sometimes you want to come and just be inspired and uplifted and be around other women and network and different things like that. I believe that, I mean, it's 2025. If you're afraid to get out there and network and meet other people, and you're still skeptical about people inboxing you and people, trying to connect, it's time to reevaluate some things in your life, because we really got to put ourselves out there. I always say you can have the best gift, you can have the best talent, the best skill, the best business, the best service, but if no one knows about it, how will you be able to produce anything? How will you be effective and no one knows about it? And so in order for people to know about it, you got to put yourself out there in all ways, at events, on social media, different things like that. Social media is no longer a thing of the past, or no longer a kid's thing or a young person's thing. I still see a lot of older people, 50s, 60s, that social media thing, that's for them. No, it's not. It's for everybody. It's the way of, it's, one of the ways of the world now. To be a part of your social media, and you make it what it is. It doesn't have to be, if you don't like gossip and different things like that, stay away from that and post and change someone's life through your social media platform. You have the control of it. And so you do with it what you want to produce. I've always used it for business. I don't care what you ate last night. I don't care about your pictures from your family. I care about the things that can bring value.
I care about what you ate,
so use it for value purposes.
To see your food. I like to see people's food. Like when somebody makes a good plate of food, I like to look at it. It makes me happy.
Right. But it ain't making no money and it ain't producing that. So you can post that, but I'm saying in between all the other value that you add. But if you really want to use social media and leverage it to your advantage, then you use it for the platform and the gifts and talents that God gave you, because it's another way to connect. Every dollar I've made for the past 8 years, every person I've met has been off of this platform. And so I stand true to it because God has given it to us to use for his glory. Amen. And so you use it for those purposes. So I always say, listen, I can't deny it because it has, blessed my life in ways.
So I noticed that my church family is all over this coming. I mean, they're inviting other people. What I'm saying, my pastor, Pastor Clarissa Gibbons, Faith International, Tabernacle, shout out to her. Her sister, Lady Lauren Carr, is on here. Shout out to Lady Lauren. I saw Sister Urandi on here. Shout out to Lady Urandi, Minister Melinda Carr. I so appreciate you joining us on tonight. Thank you to Maurice Price Sr. for joining us. We appreciate your time and your commitment. And so it's 8:26. I don't know where the hour goes. It's like I'll look at the clock and it'll be 7:30. Then I'll look again.
Yeah, it's 9:26 here in Virginia.
Oh yeah. And so but before we get off, like, do you have a website that people can reach you? I'll type it in the comment.
Yes, outside of Facebook Messenger, which I'm always on because that's how I connect with people. My website is sheispower100.com, and my email is Jeanita at sheispower100.com.
I was typing. I don't know where the screen went.
Yep, sheispower100.com.
Oh God, where did the screen go? Oh, maybe it's over here. Okay, here it is. Because I was typing and it went away. It's not letting me type. I was
typing it in the.
Oh, okay, good.
Now.
Oh, she put a question. Oh, Maurice, is that your friend?
Yeah.
Because I told you Maurice was coming, but you didn't acknowledge that that's your friend. Okay.
Oh,
Hello, Maurice. Hello, Maurice.
He's sitting right here beside me.
Yeah, I can hear him talking a little bit in the background. He's coming and get Maurice. I hear you. Over there, I don't see you, but I want you to know thank you for your support. It said, what's the name? That's what I was going to ask you, too. She wanted to know what was the name of that book again?
Build It Anyway.
Oh, yeah, I like that. It says post a comment, but when I try to post a comment, I see it's something sitting on here. That's what it was. Title of book. I'm typing that book is Build.
If you go to my Facebook profile, it's the recent or last post that I made.
Yeah, but maybe they wanted to just know. Okay, I'm type. Did you say Maurice was typing something?
You still trying to find your way back to it?
I'm on it. Says she is power100.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's typing it now.
Okay, so building anyway. No, it's not on Amazon. She's doing an anthology where ladies can join if they want to participate and have a chapter and tell their
So it's yet
story.
to be published. So I'm looking for co-authors, and once I get all the stories, which I want a fast turnaround for it, and so stories are due by September 10th. I'm going to because I do all of the layout design and all of that stuff for the books or magazine. I'm able to do all of that and work pretty fast to do it, and so it'll be published so that people and the women in it can sell it and people can buy it and things like that.
Oh yeah, I've been a part of several anthologies. I looked at your title; it was pretty catchy. I'm gonna look into it to see the commitment, the financial cost, etc., just to see. Because I didn't click. You said click on the link and all the information will be there.
Yeah, so the Facebook group. So you click on the link on the page. It'll take you to the Facebook group, and then once you join, you'll be able to see all of the information about the book and how to join it if anyone is interested in that.
Right. That's what I was trying to, because Lady Lauren is looking.
Jeanita,
that I need to do the recap. Yeah. Okay. So she's doing an anthology. So she's soliciting the participation of women to join this effort. And her name is Jeanita Castille. Oh, I need to put your name. I have it in it. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
Tag mine.
So let me put Jeanita.
Name Jeanita Castille.
Is it Jeanita R. Castille or something? What was your?
Yes, Jeanita R. Castille.
Okay, let me put an R. That's your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
Jeanita R. Castille. Okay. Same page. Book page. Well, we're gonna get on out of here. It's been such a pleasure and honor and a privilege to interview you on tonight. I so very much so appreciate you. Your testimonies have a profound impact on others as well as myself. And I'm going to look into your anthology. And there she is. That's her email. Oh, that says Jeanita at sheispower.com is your email?
Sheispower100.com.
Oh, they left the 100 off.
That's my email. Jeanita at sheispower100.com.
Oh,
you forgot the 100, but at the 100.
Okay.
And the website is sheispower100.com.
I see the website is right. Sheispower100.com is the website. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you. So if you want to get in touch with Miss Jeanita, there you have it. Sheispower100.com, and also Jeanita at sheispower100. Don't forget the 100.com. 100 is critical. 100, it's all or nothing. 100%. So remember the 100. That's part of her brand. And her Facebook page is Jeanita R. Castille. And he redid it. So Jeanita at sheispower100.com. So there you have it. So I just want to say thank you so much again for joining me. And as I always say in reporting, remember to do something wonderful for yourself. Make yourself a priority. And remember that God loves you, and so do I. They have moved all.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so very welcome. Toodles.
Have a good night.